Hey everyone, my name is the Theme Park Evangelist. Well, it's been officially a week since you last saw me, and the last time you guys saw me last, I was in Katie's old place in Greendale, Indiana, and I am excited to say that she has moved back to northern Kentucky. So, Sunday was a very busy day for us. Uh, After church was over, we got her officially moved back from Greendale, Indiana, to a good friend of mine's apartment here in northern Kentucky, without being specific at this time. So, but the important thing is, without traffic, she's only 10 minutes away from me. So, yay! Actually, this is the closest she's ever been to me. So, I can't complain. She thinks she's still far away from me, and she thinks I'm out of her way, but in reality, I'm really not that far out of her way. But it's here or there. So, anyhow, when I last saw you guys, my discussion topic for the day, if I remember correctly, was discussing how I have saved money on airfare. Now, I also mentioned that I didn't really have much to talk about when I last saw you guys. So, with that being said, I have pretty much decided that I'm going to go ahead and end the series with this vlog, or this topic really, which is how have I saved money doing things around Polk County. Now, some of these things you might hear are repeats, but that's okay. But I'm going to try to do as many new things that you may not have heard before. So, another way to word this is, how can you do things local in Central Florida that are cost effective? And I'm just going to use scenarios that I have personally used. And you never know, you might hear something that might spark your interest, and you might even want to check it out. So tonight, Katie is working until 10:15, somewhere around there, and then she's going to call me on her way home, which is a good 30 minutes. And I, on the other hand, also live. Well, actually, I have to think about that one. Yeah, I think we both live about equally 30 minutes away, which is weird. I don't know how that works. But anyway. And I just happen to be here alone at the. Well, I mean, I'm with my parents, but I just. Alone without her, that is, here at the house, or the condo. So I was like, well, today would be a good night to do another YouTube video. And I'm glad I didn't do it last night, even if I didn't have Bible study. I was exhausted yesterday. I walked over 7 miles. I was shocked. Now today, I think I did about 4.5, 5. So I didn't do as much today, but enough to be like, I'm kind of tired, and definitely going to be going to bed here within the next hour or so. So, anyway, first of all, whenever I'm hanging around Polk County, one of my favorite things to do, if given the opportunity, is to go to Legoland. Now, that does fall into the theme park list. Now, I didn't mention it much in my How Have I Saved Money YouTube series, because of the fact that it's not like one of those I have to do this kind of thing, and because it's in Polk County, so it still made it into my series, but it's going to be at the very end. And yes, Legoland is a huge thing for people, and once again, you can buy tickets on ticketsatwork.com. You don't have to go on Legoland's website. Also, for those of you who are interested, Legoland does have really nice hotels like Beach Retreat that are only a few $100s a night. They're actually really nice. I actually stayed in Beach Retreat about 4 years ago. About a few more weeks, and it will be 4 years. And the reason why I got to stay in that place for free is because TJ used to work for Legoland 4 years ago, and he used up some of his points, and he redeemed one night for us. So we shared a bungalow, and then the next morning we walked over to their cafeteria, I guess you could say. And they had a huge breakfast buffet with orange juice, chocolate milk, you name it. And I showed everybody what the buffet had. This is included in your hotel stay, and this is another really good way to save money if you are wanting to go to Legoland. And this way, you don't have to necessarily pay for another meal. Now, might have mentioned Legoland briefly while I was discussing my theme park tickets, but and I might have also mentioned it briefly again when I was doing my how have I saved money on dining, but now I'm going to go more into it. So I really do love to go to Legoland. Sorry, I thought I heard my phone, and it was just my imagination. Anyway, and I really do enjoy the apple fries. I really enjoy the apple fries a la mode. Some of those are some of my favorite things. However, though, I also understand that Legoland is very expensive, and that's why I don't always go there. And also, Legoland is not really designed for a 30-year-old. Now, get that. Now, I do appreciate the fact that Legoland also, just like Universal Orlando, I might have mentioned this in my dining video, but it's hard to say. Both Universal Orlando and Legoland Florida have Coca-Cola Freestyle machines. So they do the whole Coca-Cola Freestyle program where you can bring in one of their cups, you get activated for the day, and it's like one price, and you get all the drinks you want. Now, Legoland does not have nearly as many machines as Universal Orlando, but they still have quite a bit. I would like to see Universal Orlando put them in City Walk, but they refuse to. But at least they have them over in Volcano Bay. Anyway, so whenever I do go to Legoland, I typically park in my old Publix's parking lot, and I walk across, and I'll spend a good day there. It doesn't cost me anything. If I want to buy a couple of things in the park, that's on me, but that's about it. This one I already have mentioned before. I would love to go to Frostbite. So, Frostbite is a local mom and pop shop that sells hamburgers, sandwiches, salads, ice cream, obviously, and that's in Frostproof, Florida. For those of you who are new to my YouTube channel, back in 2013, my vice principal took me and my 3 other classmates of my senior year graduating class all the way up to Frostproof and introduced us to this place, and he paid for our meal. And that's why I know about it. I've introduced my parents, I've introduced my brother, I've introduced TJ and Kay, and now he's introduced his girlfriend Amanda. So I think that's really neat that this is all, happened all because I got introduced, and I'm just like, that is so cool. But anyway, I'm just, very thankful, and I'm looking forward to going back. I personally haven't been back in 2 years, so it's just another place I really enjoy going to. It's small and it's quiet. And speaking of which, that leads me to another place. Now, I haven't really touched much on this place in this YouTube series, and I really haven't talked much about it on my YouTube channel, but there's a place that used to be 5 minutes away from my my old house back from 2005 till 2019. I used to live over by Bok Tower Gardens. Now, Bok Tower Gardens is a National Historic Landmark, and I actually used to volunteer there, so I got free admission, I got free parking, the whole 9 yards. I got to bring a guest in for free, just kind of like with the museum and the Ark. I get to do that for free as well. I had a very small discount on merchandise and food and beverage. I really enjoyed going there for volunteering, especially during special events, and it was kind of a nice place to go visit on your day off. And sometimes I just enjoy just walking around and looking at the gardens and listening to the carillon. So the carillon is a piano that plays their handbells, and they're not really handbells, they're bells. There's one that's tons, like weighs over tons. And get this, the carillonist actually lives in Winter Haven, Florida, and he shopped at my old store, which I thought that was really neat. So, yes, I really enjoyed just being able to walk around. And depending on the time of the year, it was absolutely gorgeous outside. They had an area where you could literally just sit there and just watch nature at action. And it was completely indoors. So if it decided to just suddenly pour down rain, you were right there in the protection. It was so gorgeous. And Voc Tower Gardens is really affordable. I'm surprised. And once again, it's in Lake Wales, Florida. It's, worth checking out at least one time. I mean, I'm not saying you have to go back every single time, but it is a neat place. Anyway, so moving on to the next location that I have. Actually, this is more like an event, and I got invited many, many times over the years, but there at one point used to be a theme park called Cypress Gardens, which got bought out by Legoland Florida, and they still supposedly meet every third Saturday of the month on Lake Eloise. So Lake Eloise is one of the many, many lakes in Winter Haven. Ironically, Winter Haven was supposed to be called Lakeland at one point, but you can tell that didn't happen. So the original ski team from Cypress Gardens still meets and they still perform for guests to this day. And I thought that would have been really neat to go see, and you too can still go see them if you really want to. It's like around 2 to 4 p.m., somewhere around that vicinity. So if like you're into water skiing, that's definitely something you can see. I will tell you right now, boating is a really big deal in Central Florida in general. Every time I fly in, I'm always looking to see if it's like really nice outside, and that way I can see all the pretty lakes and the sun shining down on the lake and watching people skiing, water skiing. Once again, gotta make sure I'm getting my terminology right because right now I'm working at Perfect North and people might be watching this and going, "Are you talking about snow skiing?" Because that's what I'm used to seeing all the time right now. But no, I actually do mean legitimately water skiing. It's a very common sport down there, and it's very pretty to watch, and it's actually neat to watch. Well, I shouldn't say it's really pretty to watch. I mean, it's pretty to watch from up in the sky, but it's really neat to watch all the same when you're down below, and you're just like, wow. But yeah, I've had some gorgeous pictures while I've been in the process of landing while heading down to Central Florida, and I probably should be able to get those pictures about 6 p.m. or so while my plane is landing in Orlando. So that will be neat, assuming my plane lands on time. Now, hopefully, Southwest will be early because I gotta get to Mandy's and I gotta get there on time. And I want to go all the way to Lake Wales just to eat my dinner because that's my personal favorite location. But that's just me. So, I would personally say the some of those are my absolute favorites. Here's a place I haven't been to in a long time. Once again, I'm going back to Winter Haven. There's a place called the Audubon. This is a nature preserve that's kind of off the beaten path in Winter Haven. My acquaintance slash friend Kay took me there years upon years ago when I was still in college. And I almost took a nap right there because I was just like, oh, it feels so good out. I took some pictures, but honestly, I don't even remember where they went. And I would love to go back out there again sometime. I really would. You would have to Google search it, though, if you really want to know where the Audubon is. But the Audubon is completely free, just like the Cypress Gardens water ski team. As far as I know, they put on free shows. And you'd be surprised. There's a lot to do in Lake Wales and Winter Haven for free. I mean, more recently, I've mentioned Winter Haven, but we're going to go back to Lake Wales again. So every third Saturday of the month, Lake Wales has a farmers market. It's free admission. Obviously, it's not going to be free to buy anything, but it's free to look around at least. And I've always wanted to go, but I've never been able to go because I used to work a lot on Saturdays, and when I wasn't working, I just wasn't motivated to go down there. Now, as an adult, I'm like, why didn't I go? And as an adult, I want to go, but I'm kind of like 15 hours away, and then about half that by plane because it's hard to get a cheap direct flight, if that. And it's just hard in general just to get a cheap flight down there because of the fact that it seems like most flights to Orlando include at least one layover somewhere. It's so frustrating. And when I was living in Florida, there was an event that's actually going to be happening right about now, and it's called Mardi Gras. They do one around mid February, and it's always on a Saturday. And it's such a big deal that the Lake Wales Public Library closes for it. It's another free event again, and I just never have been able to go because either A, I was working, or B, I had something else going on. And, years later, I'm like, man, why didn't I get to go? It's not fair. I think there was one year I really, really was trying to go, and it just something ended up coming up, and I just couldn't make it. And I was free up until the last minute, and I think I got called in. I was so bummed out, and I had to accept it. It was like, because I was so excited. I was like, man, I finally get to go see this. I'm so looking forward to it. But these things happen, unfortunately. I know this is not really Winter Haven or Lake Wales, but another place I'm actually going to be showing my YouTube channel here soon is called the Auburndale Flea Market. It's still Polk County. It's free parking, free admission. Keep in mind, in Central Florida, there's a lot of flea markets, and it's free parking, free admission. Obviously, they do that because they're trying to get you to spend money elsewhere, like on food and beverage, merchandise. TJ has gotten some of his favorite bumper stickers and T-shirts at the Auburndale Flea Market. And also, the Auburndale Flea Market, surprisingly, is a really nice farmer's market right there in it. And if I had lived any closer, I would even consider buying some produce from there. Because it smells absolutely incredible when I actually can smell. I'm still somewhat dealing with a cold. It's not bad, but it's bad enough. Like, it's so annoying. But it's only causing me to get stuffed up, and that's about it. It's not like congestion. Anyway, enough of that. So, that's another place I like to go to. I did not get to make it last July. We actually were planning on going, me and Katie, but Katie was like so determined to go out to Super Target. And then when we did go all the way out there, she was like, "Oh, that's disappointing." And I was like, "Well, at least we tried." She's like, "Where?" But I want to know where this other Target was. So we did some research and we found out where it was. It was over 2 hours away. And then she goes, "What time does this farmer's market, flea market, sorry, close out?" And I said 4 o'clock, and it was almost 4 o'clock. And she was like, "Oh man, should have gone to that instead." I was like, "Yeah, we should have." But oh well. And once again, you'd be surprised. This is still Polk County. Posner Park is in Polk County, and it is huge. It is absolutely huge. There is a lot you can do out there, and you don't necessarily have to go to Posner Park to spend money. You can just go to look around. I took Katie for her first time, as you heard, last July, and I don't recall us really spending any money. We just kind of went out. Well, we did spend a little bit, but I mean, still, you can go to Posner Park and you can spend a very small amount of money if you choose to. And it's all shopping. They have some dining. They have a Starbucks. It's a nice area. And also, one of my favorite CCs is over there as well. But yeah, that's something I like to do. And it's a good 30 minutes away from where I used to live. So if you're like, well, I kind of want to get away from Lake Wales and Winter Haven, I'm going to go over there. And ironically, I did take Katie to this place. So I took Katie to the Eagle Ridge Malls. And surprisingly, this mall is very popular on YouTube, and I don't know why. And the Eagle Ridge Mall seems to go downhill every single time I go there. I'm sure I'll go there again in a few weeks. Wouldn't surprise me whatsoever. But it seems like every time I go in there, it's getting emptier. There's more stores abandoned. And more recently, the fire alarm is going off every once in a while. And then TJ says that's normal. I'm like, that's not normal. I don't know why you guys consider that normal. That's not normal. But that's the newest thing I heard recently, anyway. And it doesn't cost anything to go in there. I don't personally recall spending any money in there. I know Katie was having some stomach issues when we went in there. And I remember we had stopped at a racetrack before we got over there because I woke up from a 2+ hour nap and I was like, I'm thirsty. And I went into racetrack and I ended up walking out with a free drink. And it's not because I have literally climbed them all the way to the top of the racetrack app as far as like my progress, but it's because I used to go to the gas station so much when I was living down there. I became friends with a lot of the managers and employees there that they still remember me, and of course TJ for that matter. And they're like, "You're good, you're good." So it doesn't matter if they let me have a free drink or if I just use my app. It doesn't matter because I'm just guaranteed a free drink at least once a day. Well, I can at least use one free drink a day through the app, and that's another way I've actually saved money is using that. And then of course I got my friends down there that hook me up as well. And that's another little secret about me. When I was a lot younger, I had no life, and at night I was loitering in the gas station for hours off end. And management was like, "Yeah, I don't mind. It gives me somebody to talk to." And I felt like I was kind of like the bodyguard. I'm not going to say why TJ was like a bodyguard. Let's just say TJ came with protection, and that's as much as I'm going to say about that. And I'll let you guys use your imagination from there. Sorry, my nose is itching up a storm. I always have this problem every time I'm YouTubing. It probably drives people bonkers. So I think you guys have heard quite a bit about how I have saved money in Central Florida. So, well, especially in more so in this topic in Polk County. So, what can you guys take from that? And my recommendation would be to search local. Like, let's say you're staying off of 192 and you want to find something cheap and affordable to do. Just look up and down 192 and see what's there's cheap and affordable to do there. Whenever I go down to Pigeon Forge, I always stay local. I always use my AIG discounts to my advantage. I'm like, okay, I know where my AIG staff pass will get me in for free, and I know where it doesn't. I also know what's cheap and affordable down there, but I'm also willing to explore my options to see what else I can try and be like, okay, I know not to go there next time. And that's something else you should know. Like, I'm still getting used to Pigeon Forge and Gatlinburg, and so that's also why I'm doing these whole YouTube series down there to show everybody like what there is to do and like, okay, I tried this. Did it work for me? Yes. Or I tried this. Did it work for me? No. So I know not to do that again. And you just have to use that to your advantage whenever you're traveling somewhere you don't know about. And you're never going to know unless you try it. I mean, even if you do see something that you like, do your research ahead of time, or at least try to. Or you can even be like Katie and I and her former roommates and just jump in and just see what happens. I mean, that was what happened with us when we went to the Mellow Mushroom for the very first time. We were like, that looks good. Walked in, had no idea what we were getting ourselves into, and we ended up liking it. And I kind of felt the same way about Sawyer's. That's not a joke. Sawyer's Farmhouse Restaurant, next to the Americana that we stayed at 2 years ago, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. I really didn't. I just happened to see it at the same time Katie did, and we were like, that looks like a good place to eat. And we didn't do any research ahead of time, and now it's one of our favorites. I mean, you just never know what you're going to like about a place unless you either A, do your research, or B, you just try it anyway. And, I mean, what is there to lose? It doesn't matter whether you're in Orlando, it doesn't matter whether you're off somewhere else. You're just out traveling and you see something, you're just like, let's do it. Let me use another example. So, I was out in Marion, North Carolina with my in-laws last November and Katie. And I saw an advertisement for a local barbecue that said I had a 5-star rating. So I said to everybody, hey, why don't we go eat there? I didn't know anything about it. I didn't do my research ahead of time. My father-in-law absolutely loves when I do my research ahead of time, but this time he just took my word for it. He was like, okay, let's go try it out. We end up loving it. It was really good. They had some good hush puppies. And I'll tell you right now, that's a North Carolina thing. But anyway, now we know it's a really good place to eat. I mean, I didn't even know anything about this other place back in Wilson, North Carolina, until Katie introduced me to it, and it was a place that was pretty much guy run. I thought it was hilarious, and now I want to try it out the next time I go over there. And I don't even know the next time I'm going to be back in North Carolina. Maybe for the time when I move out there. I don't know. So what should I do? Say, Mr. Beast, I'm coming for you now. No, not really. But I do want to meet you, though, Mr. Beast. I really do. And I'm not well enough. I'm not well known enough on YouTube for Mr. Beast to click on this video, but that would be hilarious. And yes, I'm moving to Eastern North Carolina. Actually, no. My in-laws and Katie are from Eastern North Carolina, so Mr. Beast's region. And Katie and I are thinking about moving up to Central North Carolina / Western North Carolina, not too far from Asheville. So that's anyway where we're thinking about moving to. Well, that's another story for another time. Well, I definitely pray and hope that you guys will take my advice into consideration. For those of you who do not know, I'm going to be continuing my How I Met Katie YouTube series. How I went from knowing the little girl from Eastern North Carolina to just as my friend to now being my fiance and eventually going to be marrying her and moving out to North Carolina with her in the future. So, until then, I will see you guys in the next vlog. And always remember, you can do all things through Christ who strengthens you. Have a great night. Peace out.